Hey everybody, welcome on in to Sports Live in the 215. Today we will discuss the Flyers going up two games to none on the Pittsburgh Penguins as the series shifts to Philadelphia. The Flyers win the first game 3-2. Um, they won the first game 3-2 as they dominated a large portion of game one. I'd say they dominated probably about 80 to 85% of the game, maybe a bit more. They were just absolutely they were just kind of buzzing all four lines. They just had rolling. And they were able to get the drop on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Porter Martone had a big goal in game one that actually ended up being the game winner when the score was 2-1. Porter spun and went top shelf where Mama hides the cookies, as Rick Jeanneret would always say in Buffalo. And he was able to beat Stuart Skinner right off that top crossbar, and so that was a big goal. And then obviously Pittsburgh got a quick one they got a goal with 1:01 to go in the game, and the Flyers were able to kind of stall out the rest of Pittsburgh's potential comeback. So the Flyers went up 1-0 in the series, and that was huge going into game two. And then in that game two, Porter got his second goal of the series, which technically ended up being the game winner, off of I believe a Sean Couturier rebound. Yeah, I think it was a Sean Couturier rebound. He was able to kind of bury it home, or put the loose change back in the piggy bank, so to say. So yeah, that was big from Porter. He's the first teenager to have two game-winning goals in the Stanley Cup playoffs in his first two Stanley Cup playoff games. So that's absolutely huge. He's just all over the ice. It's really, really fun to see him be able to do his thing. It's just one of those things where he's able to really find some open spaces in the ice. He's not afraid to go into those dirty areas to bury home a prime scoring chance. And luckily for him and for the Flyers fans, they don't ask you to paint a picture of how the goals are scored. They're just, as long as they go on the board. I mean, his first goal was that was a thing of beauty. It was a nice little clap bomb. Right above the glove of Stuart Skinner. But his second goal of this series was just him working into those kind of dirty areas and really putting himself in a prime um, scoring opportunity to help his team get to a 2-0 series lead. And yeah, and the Flyers Flyers got some other contributions. Glenn Denning obviously had the empty netter, and Owen Tippett, I believe, scored the other goal for the Flyers. He's been absolutely everywhere in this series. He's just been an absolute revelation, and I think that will continue for the rest of the series and into Game 3, coming up in just a few hours here. So I or maybe like an hour and maybe a bit less than an hour and 30 minutes. So yeah, I think the Flyers are getting big contributions from their young guys, and obviously it's not every one of their young guys, but it's most of their young guys. One guy that's on the younger side of the team that hasn't really produced in the playoffs is Matvei Michkov, and I do think he's just kind of in a bit of a rut, and unfortunately that happens, especially with young players in the playoffs. You'll you're I think in this situation you're just gonna have to let Matvei kind of work through it, because he's such an exciting player, and all it takes for a player like that is for him to get one shot to find the back of the net, and then he'll start scoring in bunches. I heard somewhere, I can't remember this person's name, but he was saying that he would bench Matvei Michkov, and I vehemently disagree. Not because Matvei hasn't been bad. He has. But I just think you have to allow him to kind of work through it, and once he does, he's gonna produce, and he's gonna produce in bunches. So you got to just kind of let him work through it and see and like really be able to kind of respond to these experiences, because that will make him a better player in the long run. It will help. It will just help his development overall. But I just think that I think benching Michkov would be one of the worst things that Rick Tocchet could do. That would destroy a young player's confidence, and he's a player that is paramount to not just your present success but your future success. So we have to keep him locked in and keep him engaged, and and I think the only way to do that is allowing him to stay on the ice and kind of work through these offensive struggles that he's going through. So those are my thoughts on the Matvei Michkov front. One thing I also wanted to bring up is the fact that the Flyers have held the Penguins to an 0 for 8 clip on the power play through 2 games. That is absolutely incredible. The Penguins had the 7th ranked power play in the 2025-2026 NHL season. So to hold that power play to 0 for 8 is absolutely huge. And not only that, our the second goal was actually, it wasn't scored by Couturier. It was scored by Garnet Hathaway thanks to a beautiful play by Owen Tippett. Like Tippett really set up that play that allowed Garnet to put home the goal that put the Flyers up 2-0, and that was absolutely huge. That's what great players do. They find ways to make their teammates better, and Owen Tippett, he certainly did that on that play in game 2 to put the Flyers up 2-0, and then with, I want to say, 2 minutes left in the third period, Glendening buried the empty netter to put game 2 on ice and allow the Flyers to go back to Philly up 2-0. And another thing I want to bring up in this live video is the fact that the Flyers have held Sidney Crosby pointless in 2 games. That's the first time since 2017 that Sidney Crosby has not scored in back-to-back games against the Flyers since in 8 or 9, like now it's probably like 9 years at this point. So that's obviously huge, and credit to the Flyers defensively. They're keeping Crosby from having any sort of discernible impact on this game or on these 2 games, and that's a big reason why they're up 2-0. Oh, and also I forgot to mention the second goal that the Flyers scored in game 2 was on a Penguins power play. So our special teams is better than has been better than Pittsburgh's special teams has so far in this series. So credit to Rick Tocchet and his staff for getting the guys ready to defend a really vaunted and dangerous power play, and really just be able to shut them down. It was it's something that's absolutely that's really awesome to see, and the guys are just really bought into what Rick Tocchet is teaching them and requiring of them, and that's really really good to see. So yeah, I'm really excited for game 3, and I know every Flyers fan is as well. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching this, and as always, let's go Flyers.